Hi, welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. Don here. Want to talk a little bit today about there's a wound dressing that I've been starting to use in the office, and I want to talk about the whole kind of process. In the beginning, it was a little bit of a struggle. It kind of is, but let me kind of walk you through. I've tried using different types of wound dressings in the past, different collagens, different things that we can dispense, and it didn't really work out. I bought a lot of product. It never went, meaning the patients never got it, and we ended up having to eat it. And some of these can be quite expensive. We've been using the Amerigel Wound Dressing in the post-op kits for many years. But I always wanted to get into wounds. Not that I do many wounds, but occasionally we have wounds here. And so in the past I used to do a little dermagraft and these types of things. I don't have a huge wound practice. I want to be very clear about that. But nonetheless, we all see some of these plantar wounds on the foot in different areas, and I wanted to do a dispensing, and I always heard it was a good idea. Let me tell you first of the challenges that I had. Okay, number one challenge was figuring out which one I wanted to use. There's only a few out there within podiatry. The best, in my opinion, and I'm not, for example, paid for this, but I do use the Amerigel. They have that helix, that collagen. Like the collagen powder, and this is the one I did. So Jeffrey Lerman, he had a presentation, and I was able to watch that. Once we decided to buy the product, I got to do a kind of an introduction to it, and this was done with my office biller, so she knew how to bill it. But then the challenging part was doing the documentation, and the documentation was. I don't know, it wasn't hard, but it wasn't easy. I'm the one that made all the templates within our Athena, and therefore what I did is I had to make a physical exam template to put it in the physical exam, a little bit more specific than my current one. I had to go in the procedures section and make a procedure template for doing the wound debridement, a little bit more detailed than we used to have. And so that was at the different levels, and as everyone knows, for wound debridement. And then I also needed to go into the procedures and put a kind of a dispensing note, similar to when we're dispensing AFOs or dispensing other types of DME items. It actually went in my notes, kind of a dispensing note of how much was given, what was the rationale for giving it. And then also in the order section, I had to put it in the order section. Now this sounds a little convoluted, but frankly, this was the hardest part of doing the wound. If you want all of these templates and everything else like that, you can go to Podiatry Practice Mastery and get my Practice Mastery Academy, and inside of there, in the 30-day practice blueprint, everything is in there, all these templates and everything, that just to make it easier for you. And then, so that's the template part. Once we figured that out, it was basically, I sent it back to Jeff. He took a look at it, said, yes, this looks fine, or you have to change a few things. And that was done. So that's easy. So every time we do a patient, I just put in those templates, and actually all my wound debridement documentation has changed based on that. It's a little bit more specific, both in my physical exam and my procedure. The next part that was challenging then was learning how to bill it. My biller learned it. Like the first time, she just billed one wound thingy, like 1 gram packet instead of 15, because they come in groups of 15. You can get 15 or 30. We started with 15 because I wanted to do 2 weeks at a time, seeing my patients back. I think it costs a little bit more, but initially I just felt better about doing that. And that's the only product I got. I didn't want to do all the other products. I just wanted to start with one. So that was the first challenge. The second challenge, using these new wound dressings, we're trying to teach my patients, because the first few patients, I gave them these collagen powder, and they were trying to put it on their foot and it fell on the floor and they couldn't figure it out. And then I learned from a friend that I had interviewed before. He said, Don, you just take the wound spray, that spray stuff that it comes with, is saline, and you spray it in the package, and it makes a little kind of like a paste, and then you put that paste on along with the gauze, and then that secondary dressing that goes over it with the adhesive. So that worked much better. And then we're trying to figure, well, how do you teach patients how to do that? So the best way to teaching them, we figured, was to make a video. So I was going to make a video, and I reached out to them, and they were just great about sending me, actually, and maybe I got this earlier, I didn't know where it was at, but there was just wonderful videos explaining how to do it with that exact thing, of how to spray it, how to put it on the bottom of the foot, and that just worked great. So our experience so far has been very good with the collagen. and specifically the wounds are healing quicker. So anyway, I just wanted to share that experience. Doing anything new, there's a comment that I heard from Dan Sullivan. It's called the 4 C's. The 4 C's go the following: commitment, courage, capability, and then confidence. And this is a philosophy that I've found that's true. So let me go through these. The first one is commitment. So commitment means you're going to do something. In this case, we ordered, I don't know, however, a couple of $1,000s worth of stuff. It makes me a little bit more willing to commit and learn things if I spend some money on things. So we spent this money, and I had to kind of figure this out. Otherwise, and you had to figure it out fast so you don't lose this and are not able to bill it. So that was my commitment, was actually spending money. And this is something I tell people, and I've learned myself. The more we spend money on ourselves for something that we want to achieve, the quicker you're going to achieve it. And this, I practice what I preach. I buy 2 books on Audible every month. I go to Strategic Coach, which costs about $8,000 a year. I'm always trying to improve on continuing education, and we bought focused in radial shockwave. We're investing into the practice, things like that. So that's the first thing, is commitment, and for this was committing into buying these wound things. Second thing is courage. It takes courage to try something new because it's uncomfortable. I want to be clear about that. Anything that we're starting new is going to be uncomfortable. If you start doing wound dressings, it's going to be uncomfortable. If you start doing patient presentations, it's going to be uncomfortable. So it's commitment, courage, and if you have courage long enough, then you develop the capability. Capability doesn't come before you have to have courage. And this capability gives you what we call confidence. So the capability comes only with time. The capability can't come before you commit or before you have courage. And that's where I think a lot of people, they want to develop capability prior, meaning they just want to maybe read a book and think they're capable. It's kind of like if you think you're going to be good at surgery or good at doing orthotics or good at doing anything just from reading a book or reading one article. You really have to practice it. And that's, you have to have courage to practice it. You have to keep on trying, and that's going to develop the capability that you need. So doing wound dressings, doing these things that I call the patient presentations, to get competent at doing that, to get that capability, it's going to take some time, and it's not going to be pretty in the beginning. That's where the courage needs to come in. And then the last aspect is confidence. And after you've been doing it a while, then you talk to someone else that does it, and you're like, wow, it looks so easy. But I really want to say that this learning curve is with anything. To develop the confidence of doing wound dressings, you have to mess up. Some don't work. The quicker you get started, the quicker that confidence will come. And if you mess up, just so you know, that is pretty common and pretty normal and pretty okay. Okay, it's okay for you to mess up. And I want to talk about one of the errors that I've made. I want to give you an example. Is that I start things, but then I get kind of bogged down because it gets to be complex. So I kind of commit, I have a little bit of courage, and then I don't develop that real capability that's needed. And that can be a challenge, because if you don't develop the capability that's needed, you can never get confident about something. I want to give you a blatant example. I've had these websites for a while, and I kind of threw the website together, and it worked okay. But as I've been learning more about websites, then I learned this story brand method that I'm working on right now. And this new story brand method is going to make it much superior. And so swapping it over to that, it's making my results much, much better. Whereas if you just stick with your current, ability, or your current capability, you're not gonna advance. That's the same thing in practice. If you want to hire a second doctor, third doctor, second office, all these things you have to take leaps in your capability, and you're never the same person. So what are the things, I guess, ask yourself, what are the things that you need to commit to and have courage to do to learn these new capabilities? That's what I hope to do within Podiatry Practice Mastery, to encourage you guys to try new things, and just give it a shot, and then keep kind of working on it. It's going to take time. Once again, if you guys found this beneficial, please let me know, don@podiatrypracticemastery.com. Love to hear back from you, what's kind of working for you, what your insights are, and make some more friends. Okay, thanks.